You know what I call that? You know what I call that? Don't laugh at the jacket. I love the jacket. My wife hates the jacket. Jacket's from a thrift store. I love the fact that it's from a thrift store. It's gonna be thrown away. Instead, I got it for like $5. I've had this thing for like 8 years. I only wear it at the ranch when I'm working. Look how fuzzy it is inside. It's so warm. Anyway, I saw you laughing at the jacket, so I had to set that straight. Anyway, yeah, you know what I call that? I call that really good fruit set. Woo, look at that. It's April 25th. It's my daughter's Muppy. Happy birthday, Muppy. Maybe I'll send this video to you. Probably air much later than, it takes me a while to get these things online. Probably air in like June. And she'd be like, Dad, it was my birthday like a month and a half ago. Thanks a lot. Anyway, I already sent her a text, so she's on the other side of the continent. But this is a really good fruit set. Look at that. Now, it was a little bit warmer here not long ago. Do you notice how there's just no bees at all out here right now? There's not a single bee. I made a video not too long ago showing, I think it's called bees and pollination or something like that. This very same tree, and the bees were just going crazy on this tree because way down behind that oak tree down there, there's a huge bunch of hives that Henry the bee man brings out, and they pollinate our, well, they don't pollinate, they just kind of get a lot of nectar from our citrus trees. There's like 100 of them out of frame here. There's 4 right there. And the bees come here and they stay here and they have a great time. And they were all over this plant about 2-3 weeks ago when it was blooming. And luckily it was warm and the bees were out because we got a really good fruit set. Now, ironically, look at, there's just fruit everywhere. There's so much fruit. This thing, I had a feeling that this is going to be the breakout year on this tree. It hit critical mass and it's really doing well. This is little Avocado, also known as Wirtz. And there's another one there that struggled and it died back, almost died completely. Now it's sprouting out. I had another one over here that died totally. So, you know, if at first you don't succeed, just keep trying. Once they get to critical mass, you can't stop these trees. But do you notice, like, there was a reason I told you about the jacket. It's freaking freezing right now. It's so cold. It's been really cold. Like, we had a really dry winter, but a warm, beautiful winter. Couldn't complain. And now it's like as cold as it's been all winter right now. And it's April 25th. And this is the height of pollination season. Pollination happens a little earlier here in the Central Valley because you have higher temperatures. But this is a problem. When it's cold, there are no bees. Count how many bees you see here. We could probably go down to the hive and look at the hive, and they're probably not even like, they're just barely out. So if you get a cold spring, like right now, chances are you might get a really bad fruit set, which is a problem. So the thing to do is to boost the bees any way you can. Lots of beneficial flowers around that bees like. Spray honey water on the flowers when they're in bloom. That's really important. You can look that up. I think I have a video, search my videos. And then I'm sure there's lots of other videos. That's how I found out. YouTube, baby. Gotta love it. And you can learn anything from YouTube. No need to go to college anymore, kids. Everything you want to learn is online for free. Colleges are going to go bankrupt. Plus, colleges just mess kids up, you know, as far as I'm concerned. And then they bankrupt either them or their parents. And, you know, but these days, like, you know, don't worry because the government will just cancel your debt if you decide to go to a real expensive school to get a really good job and be, you know, rich and all that. But then you decide like, oh, I don't really want to work, but I have all this debt and it's getting in the way of vacationing. And if you vote in the right government, they'll just cancel the debt. And then all those kids that worked at the gas station because they figured they couldn't afford college and couldn't afford the loan, that are living on the bottom of the totem pole of society that decided not to take on that debt because they didn't want to go bankrupt because of it. Well, I'm not sure if the government then owes them something. It's complicated. Anyway, let's not talk politics. I was one of those kids. We didn't take on debt. I just worked my way through college. Jeez, there's no way I was going to take on debt to go to college, you know? And then if I did, I would never ask someone else to pay for it. But back to the point here, people. Back to the point. This is an apolitical channel. Let's keep it that way. Be interesting, though, to have anybody argue otherwise. I went to school and I can't get a good job and I took on all this debt. And the reason I went to school and took on this debt because I wanted to be rich. And that was the gamble that I made. But now I'm not rich and I want someone else to pay for this damn debt. Is someone really arguing that? This is an apolitical channel. Stop it. Okay, back to the point. So what's interesting over here is that this is the same exact genetic line of plant. And I'm just not seeing a lot of fruit set here. I'm seeing a lot of growth, which is great. But I guess there's some little avocados in there. But nothing like the big boy. So there you go, people. You just got to know, like, there's different stages. You could have things side by side with each other at different stages, and you'll have a different outcome. I mean, look how many flowers are on this plant. They almost have their own intelligence. Like, they know when to flower, how much flower to do. They know what year they should grow rather than flower. So those are the things to think about. Yeah. So whatever. Things to think about. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Never underestimate the value of a really warm jacket at a thrift store. Save the world and don't cause fabrics and dyes to be made unnecessarily when you can go find some. I'm throwing away a weed at a thrift store that otherwise would have been thrown in the garbage to help save your planet or what's left of it. And don't unnecessarily create new things to be made when you can find things that are used that would offset all of the carbon emissions in the production and shipment of such items. Here's I'm not sure which variety this is. I got all kinds of mixtures up here. This is, again, a pretty good fruit set here. This one here is like, hey man, I don't need any leaves. Let's just make flowers. That's actually stressful for a father because you know that if there's too many flowers and not enough leaves, then the plant will go into cardiac arrest. So this is the way these avocados really want to be grown. They want to be grown as little bushes. You know, you try to grow them with, their main stalk. See the main stalk right there? Yeah. Force them to do something they don't want to do. And then what do? Boom, they die to the ground. And then they do what they want to do. So, yeah. So also what's interesting is I'm starting to direct plant seeds from really cool varieties. These are Dukes. I can tell by the leaf. And they'll grow up and make really good Duke avocado trees. If I want to graft on top of those, I can do that. It gives me the option. Because when you plant these seedlings, look, they are so tough when they're direct planted. And then I would say, you know what, just plant. If you have cool varieties from the store or whatever, like Reed or Nabal or whatever from friends, plant those seeds out, you know, because when you go and plant plants that are manipulated and grafted and everything else, they're just weak. So weak. And the seedlings are so vigorous, it seems like. Look, here's a Pinkerton over here. Let's see how he's doing. Let's see it. Had some fruit on it. I'm not sure where the fruit went. Oh, look. There's the fruit. I should have picked it. I waited too long. We'll go down and examine that. It must have fallen off the tree and rotted. Didn't notice. So it looks to me like there's some fruit. Barely. Looks to me like the Pinkerton is behind. You know, all these avocado trees have a different schedule. The Pinkerton is behind the Little Cado in its fruiting schedule because I don't see any like developed fruit on it yet. Here's here's one right there. See that? And oh look, there's one. Oh yeah, maybe a little behind. Let's see. Oh, how lame I am. I wonder if I could plant that seed. No, that's pretty dried up. And here's another one. I should have got to it. I knew they were in there. They're hidden in there. I kind of, out of sight, out of mud. Oh, there's another one. There's another one dropped right there. Anyway, yeah. So you get too busy. Sometimes you don't pick your fruit. Well, look here. Look. Case in point, you plant these ones that are whatever, grafted and all that, and they're weak, and then sometimes they die. This is a sort of a murderous avocado growing region because it's hot. You saw how well the little cows do. Once they get going, they're great, but when they start them out, it's extremely tenuous. Here is another example of a really tough, pure strain, seedling Duke. Probably the toughest avocado there is for the Central Valley. Look at how happy that plant is, right? There's nothing that's gonna stop that thing. If you planted a little grafted plant at this size, I guarantee it'd be dead here. So, that might be a new strategy. Look at the poppies. That's a great thing to throw around in between your trees for habitat and all that. Here's another little seedling coming up. This guy, he's a little slower, but he's real tough. There's another one. Yeah, look at all these. So let's weed this a little bit here. Yeah, here you go. Look at this. What's cool about the Duke, the leaves are extremely tough. They're just leathery, and they're a lighter green. I think maybe that's a good adaptation to the high sunlight levels of the Central Valley. The stiffness helps it retain water because it doesn't blow around as much, And then the lighter color, reflects the sun more. It doesn't absorb as much light and dry it out as fast. So those things they're just tough. So it'll be fun to watch these grow up. Let's take a leaf. We could compare the difference from even the darker leaves on the bottom. Like, look. Let's go compare this to the little Avocado. Yeah, just very stiff. It has some undulation on it. See the undulation? It's like the sort of waves of structure. Well, the little avocado is very different. Little avocado is more typical of most avocados. Look at the difference here. Let's find a good example. Okay. See that? Look at that. Duke on the left, little avocado on the right. Compared to the new coppery colored foliage here, and compared to the mature green foliage, which would be last year's growth right here. See the difference? It's a lighter green. Yeah, that's just the way it is with the Duke. Anyway, hopefully you learned a couple things there. Now you know where to buy your jackets and things to think about when taking out a loan for school. Just my humble opinion. That's it. Have a fun day. Well, I can hear the bullfrog calling me home, yeah. You guys know the song Green River? Yeah, Green River. Green River was inspired by the Green River, which is not the Green River, it's Putah Creek, and it's right over there. Fogarty kids used to camp there when they were kids, and about 3 or 4 miles that way. I love to go down there and sit there with a cold beer, hang my feet down the shallow water. Shoe fly, dragonfly, get back with your mother. pick a flat rock up and skip it across the water. Come on home to Green River. Anyway, maybe I wonder if that's why Henry called his company Henry's Bullfrog Bees in Winters, California, because that's what we have here is some bullfrogs that like honey. So it's a pretty cold day. It's starting to warm up. Sun's out. The bees are, they're starting to wake up. But like I said, on cold days, I mean, you come down here on a hot day, it's like crazy. They're going crazy. Right now, these bees are friggin' freezing. And they're not making it up to the avocado trees, which are, well, they're up yonder. Up yonder, right there. See it? Right there. Anyway, yeah, so pray for warm temperatures during bloom set, wherever you may be. In the Bay Area, it's going to be a little later, like right now. This cold weather in the Bay Area might cause some issues with pollination of avocado trees. So get them on there any way you can. Get your own hives, put them right next to the tree. Put a bunch of honey on the trees, honey water, Sunny D, whatever you got. Sugar, I bet you fit sugar up there with water. That might even help because they're attracted to that kind of thing. It's time to get back to work.